March 30th, 1943. A fjord north of Tromsø, Norway. A man pulls himself from the water onto the rocks, one boot missing, body temperature already falling, the sound of German rifles still echoing across the ice. Behind him, 11 men are dead or in custody. In front of him, hundreds of miles of Arctic wilderness in the worst winter in memory. His name is John Baalsrud, and he is alone. The Germans will search for him for 63 days. They will never find him. How does a man, barefoot and half-frozen, vanish into the Arctic and walk out the other side? The answer starts 6 days earlier, on a fishing boat called the Bratholm. 6 days earlier, the Bratholm is a fishing boat that doesn't look like a weapons platform, which is exactly the point. 12 Norwegian commandos, trained by British intelligence in Scotland, are sailing toward occupied Norway with one mission. Destroy a German air control tower at Bardufoss and build a resistance network in the north. Nobody on board expects what happens next. John Baalsrud is 25 years old, born in Oslo, trained as a cartographical instrument maker, a man who builds precision tools for reading the land. When Germany invades Norway in April 1940, he picks up a rifle and fights in Vestfold, loses, and escapes to Sweden. The Swedes arrest him as a spy, try him, and expel him. What follows is one of the stranger journeys of the war. Baalsrud travels through the Soviet Union, India, Africa, Brazil, and the United States before reaching Scotland, where British intelligence is quietly building a unit of Norwegian volunteers for exactly this kind of work. He joins, he trains, he learns demolition, infiltration, cold weather survival. By early 1943, he is one of 12 men selected for Operation Martin, a mapmaker who now reads terrain not to chart it, but to disappear into it. The mistake happens on March 24th. One of the commandos goes ashore to make contact with a local resistance member, a shopkeeper whose name matches the one on their list. The problem is that it is the wrong man, a different person with the same name, who has no connection to any resistance and every reason to be afraid. He reports the conversation to the German authorities within the hour. By the time the team returns to the Bratholm, the trap is already closing. March 30th, a German patrol vessel appears in the fjord. The decision takes seconds. Light the fuses. Abandon ship. Row. The Germans open fire on the dinghies. 3 men are killed in the water. 8 are pulled out, handed to the Gestapo, and executed in Tromsø weeks later. Baalsrud reaches the shore alone, pulls himself up a snow gully, and walks directly into a German officer. He fires first. The officer goes down. He runs, one boot on his left foot, nothing on his right, the Arctic snow burning against his bare skin, and somewhere behind him, an entire German garrison beginning to move. What follows is not a chase. It is something slower and more brutal. Baalsrud moves through the mountains above the Arctic Circle in temperatures that freeze exposed skin in minutes, navigating by memory and instinct, stopping in farmhouses and fishing villages where Norwegian families hide him in barns and under floorboards, knowing that discovery means execution. An avalanche buries him alive and destroys his remaining supplies. Snow blindness takes his vision for days, forcing him to move by touch across terrain that drops without warning into ravines. He crawls when he cannot walk. He drifts in and out of consciousness in the open snow. For 27 days he lies alone in a shallow crevice in the mountains above Mandalin, kept alive by villagers who carry food up the slope at night, in secret, past German patrols. The frostbite has been spreading since the first week. By the time he reaches Mandalin, both feet are black to the ankle. At some point in that crevice, Baalsrud makes a decision. The gangrene is spreading up his legs, and he understands what that means. He has a pocket knife. He has no anesthesia, no mirror, no one to hold him down. He removes 9 toes over 2 sessions, cutting through tissue and bone alone in the dark, packing the wounds with what he has. He does not die. The gangrene stops. He is now 36 kilograms, barely conscious, missing 9 toes, and still alive. The Sami arrive shortly after, load him onto a reindeer sled, and begin moving him east, across the Finnish border, into Sweden, out of German reach. Baalsrud reaches a Swedish hospital in June 1943, 72 days after the Bratholm went down. He recovers, returns to Britain, and survives the war. Several of the Norwegians who sheltered him are later arrested by the Germans. Some do not survive. The Sami guides who carried him across the Finnish border are never formally recognized by any government. Baalsrud lives until 1988, returns to Mandalen in his later years, and leaves specific instructions for what should happen when he dies. His ashes are buried in the mountain, beside one of the men who kept him alive in the crevice. The same mountain that tried to kill him for 27 days holds him now, permanently. 11 men went into that fjord. One came out. The Germans spent months searching the mountains and never found him. The people who actually saved him, the farmers, the fishermen, the Sami guides, risked everything and received nothing. So who is the real story here? The man who survived, or the ones who made sure he did?